Donald J. Trump has a path to victory in the 2020 election to become President of the United States of America that no one is seeing. And I'm going to show you it right now. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet, we've got to take a look at the 2020 election, polling predictions, and what the election map will be. The first thing we're going to do is look at this story. Here you can see on NBC, OK Zoomer, Gen Z/millennials are getting crushed at the polls by older voters. So many people have said that Biden is going to win. Biden is ahead in the polls. He's doing so well. He's going to win, guys. There's no way that Trump could possibly win. He's leading in national polls. He's leading in early voting. And he's leading in just about everything. Even in Texas, he's like 17 points ahead. But what if I told you that all of this was missing a really big factor? A factor that could completely and utterly turn the polls on their head. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So here we can see that Gen Z and millennials haven't really voted. An NBC-LX analysis of early voting reports through October 27th indicates that only 13% of voting age Americans under the age of 30 have cast ballots so far, and only 19% of those between the ages of 30 and 39. Comparatively, approximately 47% of all Americans over 65 have cast ballots with a full week of voting left to go. So the article goes on to say that historical trends indicate that young voters are more likely to vote closer to Election Day than older voters, a trend that is likely to be more pronounced in a year where a pandemic disproportionately threatens older Americans who may want to avoid polling places. However, trends over the past 4 decades reveal that younger voter turnout is always lower. But here's the thing. If only 19% of young people have voted, that means that that's a lot of unaccounted for votes. And if early voting favors Democrats, doesn't that mean that once the votes come in on Election Day, that you could see a massive red wave? And that, my friends, is Donald Trump's path to victory. Despite what the polls are saying, despite what the media is saying, I believe Trump has a very solid path. Now, this is just one piece of the puzzle, folks. Why is Biden ahead? And is Biden going to remain ahead? Is his victory guaranteed? No, it is not. And I'm going to tell you why. Right now, early voting favors Democrats. That is true. But here's the thing. Way more people are going to be voting than we ever thought imaginable. So I want you to look at this. Another piece of the puzzle. Texas officials report record 8.5 million early votes 5 days before the election. This is an article from The Hill, and they're talking about Texas, where I believe Biden is currently ahead, and they're saying, wow, turnout is massive. The article says election officials in Texas say that more than 8.5 million people have already voted ahead of next week's general election, nearly equaling the total number of votes cast in the state in 2016. Now, psychology is an interesting thing. When you hear that, wow, the people who voted in Texas pretty much equal the people who voted in 2016, you think, I guess that means that this cake is finished. The bun is done. Obviously, if Biden is leading in Texas, and we already have as many votes as we had in 2016, I guess Biden wins Texas. No. And I'm going to show you exactly why. Here on the Daily Mail, presidential election is forecast to have the highest voter turnout in 112 years. They're expecting 150 million ballots, representing 65% of eligible voters, and 58 million votes are already in, meaning we're not even halfway there. So it doesn't matter that Texas has 8.5 million votes, and it does not matter that around 9 million people voted in 2016. That doesn't mean it's done. It's not done by far. You still have young people who haven't voted. You still have some seniors who haven't voted. And most of all, Democrats vote early, and Republicans are more likely to come in on Election Day, as well as young people. What does that mean? It means that they're calling victory too early. They're being cocky. They think they have it in the bag. It's like Trump versus Hillary all over again. Do you remember that? Do you remember the polls? Now, there's some things I want to show you. Do you guys remember back in the 2016 election? Trump versus Hillary. Remember how everyone said that Trump was losing? I want to show you some screen caps. This is a screen cap from 2016. It shows a Wojak throwing off a MAGA hat and crying. Trump losing badly in every swing state based on exit polls. I'm literally shaking right now. What went wrong, bros? Maybe next time try getting an actual competent politician as a nominee instead of a meme. Do you remember all the demoralizing? People and shills on the internet were all saying that Trump was gonna lose because of the polls. Oh, the polls. And there was even this one post, I wish I could find it, but I wasn't able to. But it goes a little something like this. There's an Annan person, a left-winger, who says, 4chan's problem is that they think they're smarter than everyone, smarter than the media, smarter than the polls. Trump will lose badly on election night, and you will all cry. Screen cap this post. That's an infamous post in 4chan and internet history. And it's also an infamous post because ultimately, Trump did win. Here's another screen cap, where Annan posts Pepe and says, I don't think it's possible for an image to convey the level of smug I feel right now. All the shilling, all the celebrities, all the rigged polls, all the emails. I can feel a warmth deep in my bosom. It's energy. It's high energy. I am feeding from the iridescent pool of MAGA meme magic. Can you feel it? Once in my life, I feel proud of my country. God damn, poll, it feels good. Trump won. And it's perfectly possible for him to win again. We're going to see record voter turnout. Young people haven't voted yet, and Republicans are far more likely to vote in person near Election Day. The election is not over, not by far. And I'm going to tell you another reason, another red flag of why the Democrats should be scared. Here we are on the News Observer. Here it says, Democrats get a big head start with voting in North Carolina, but Republicans are catching up. I want you to think about this, folks. Since more Democrats vote ahead of time, they vote early, that means that they should be way ahead. If they're going to win the election, they should be way ahead in early voting. So why are Republicans catching up? They're closing the gap, and this is happening in several states, a lot of swing states. Could it possibly be that Republicans are still coming in to vote, and that Democrats, they got a head start, but they're not going to win the race? That is my prediction. That is my path to victory. Trump will win. It might be narrow, folks. It might be contested, but ultimately I believe Trump will prevail. Everyone vote. I'm going to vote. I'm going to cast my ballot soon. It's going to be Trump. I believe in the meme magic. I believe in the will of the people. I believe that we can overcome the cheaters, the fraudsters, and I believe that our votes count, and we're going to make it happen. There is a path to victory here. Look at this article. It goes on to say that when the polls opened for early voting on October 15th, more than 500,000 North Carolinians had already cast their ballots by mail, and a majority of them were registered Democrats. But since the polls have opened, Republicans have narrowed the gap. Republicans accounted for just 18% of votes cast on October 15th. As of Wednesday, that portion has climbed to nearly 31%. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. We're going to see a massive, massive turnout on Election Day. And more likely, the Republicans who are scared of mail-in balloting are going to vote in person. And there's another reason, too. Mail-in ballots have a higher rate of error. It can be bad as 10% in some places. So Republicans are going to vote in person and their vote will be counted. But Democrats who are favoring mail-in balloting, they're going to lose votes, possibly 10%, in some places more. Stuff gets lost in the mail. It's going to be a disaster. Mail-in voting could hurt the Democrats. I believe even people from Biden's campaign have said, you know what, it might be better to vote in person. And funnily enough, Twitter banned him for spreading false information about mail-in balloting. Isn't that amazing? I think it's going to backfire massively. I think it's time, folks. I've got to show you my election map for 2020. Folks, what's it going to be? Boom, folks. This is my prediction. Trump wins everything, including the moon. The moon goes red, my folks. Space Force will take the moon. The moon is voting Trump. New York, Texas, Florida, California, Washington. It's going to be a red wave. Absolute victory. God bless America. Oh, but for real, folks, Memes aside, jokes aside, I really do believe that Trump is going to win. Of course, everyone has to do their part. We need massive turnout. In order for this election to be definite, for us to know who wins on election night, we need massive voting, massive Trump. Slam that ballot, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for updates, because most likely I'm going to be here, we're going to be following all of this, and we're going to see who's going to win. Not even the polls truly know, but that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you want to support the channel, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. Joining will give you access to a private Discord server where me and other friends hang out. It's called Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, and everything that happens in Fight Club is satire and fiction. Oh, you can also share the video. That's vastly appreciated. Visit my merch store. Visit one of my sponsors. I recommend all of my sponsors. We've got Hero Soap Company, which provides paraben-free, all-natural soaps, good for your body, and a portion of all proceeds goes to helping homeless veterans. If you want high-quality headphones, check out Double Tap Audio. And of course, there's the Virtue Signal card game. If you like card games, check that out. That's enough shilling, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.